We win. However, within seconds of being posted, the tweet mysteriously vanished from not only his Twitter account but also from Internet archival records. The report stems from testimony given by former MI6 operative Christopher Steele, who says he glimpsed the tweet just before it was mysteriously purged from Trump's beautiful Twitter account. The tweet, Steele said, was Trump's response to a classified intelligence report stating that a 2.2 kilometers Nibiru fragment had been destroyed in space. Early last month, Russian astronomer Dr. Vladimir Zakharovich alerted the world to a potential threat. An asteroid-like object, ejected from the Nibiru system, was due to strike Earth on 16 February. Donald Trump clandestinely mustered foreign leaders in a bid to save the world from extinction. An 8-nation coalition had launched a barrage of advanced interceptor missiles at the target, destroying it early Tuesday morning. According to our British source, Steele spoke of Trump's tweet after analyzing a series of highly sensitive intelligence reports detailing Trump's deliberations regarding the Nibiru system. Once Trump heard that the fragment, officially named 2016 WF9, had spiraled behind the dark side of the Sun and began speeding toward Earth, he jumped to action. His mission was a success. He couldn't wait to tweet about it. He was riddled with anxiety, like a kid in a candy store yearning for a chocolate bar. I'm surprised Trump got the tweet out at all. He must have circumvented his handlers, Steele told our source. Trump's proclivity for impetuous tweeting is legendary. More than once, aides have failed to confiscate Trump's custom-made 24 kilotons gold, diamond-accentuated iPhone, from which he unleashes myriad of seemingly witless banter. Usually reliable sources said that Trump was warned against prematurely tweeting about Nibiru, especially because the United States government is still trying to confirm an OPSC report that the Nibiru system itself has stalled in space and no longer threatens Earth. But Trump apparently confused the Nibiru fragment with the Nibiru system. Make no mistake, Steele told our source, Trump is a brilliant man with brilliant ideas. But he has so much on his mind. It's perfectly reasonable that he mistook the asteroid for Nibiru. The tweet was there for but a fraction of a second, then gone. How that happened is a mystery even to me. Our source, however, dug deep into the bowels of Washington and ferreted out the reason why Trump's tweet inexplicably vanished. Trump's chief strategist, Stephen K. Bannon, had paid 3 Twitter employees an undisclosed sum of money to personally monitor Trump's Twitter feed. Their duties included editing or deleting tweets containing the word Nibiru. To avoid the appearance of impropriety, Bannon instructed the Twitter employees to delete as few tweets as possible, while amending others with benign words and phrases. If all information is accurate, the unnamed Twitter employees routinely replaced the word Nibiru with either Iran or Mexico. Incredible. Really incredible, our source said. But even a glance at Trump's Twitter account lends credibility to this. Many tweets about Iran and Mexico just make no sense whatsoever. From what I learned, Trump has made over 100 tweets about Nibiru since he started campaigning for the presidency. All of them, without exception, have been altered or wiped clean. That much is certain. What's uncertain is why high-ranking administration members are hindering Trump's desire to embrace a topic of worldwide importance. Regardless, despite occasional bouts of perplexing confusion, President Trump seems destined to overcome all obstacles and to make Nibiru awareness one of his highest presidential priorities.
That's the news. Join us here every day. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell. See you next time.
This is TBNN.
Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you may be. This is Mike from www.someonesbones.com, bringing you the latest and greatest Nibiru news and information on the internet, hot off the press. A few things before I get going with today's story. Admittedly, I am relatively new to the YouTube community, although I have been researching the Planet X topic pretty much writing about it on the web exclusively for the last year. Nibiru, aka Planet X, is something that caught my attention way back in 2003, and I have followed it often and thought about it, and I have realized that this is an important topic that a lot of people are concerned about. And this is the driving factor that has compelled me to write about this and try and get information about it and provide that to the public for their consumption. Now, one thing I want to talk about is I have gotten some concerns about people who have said that my videos go black after a minute or two. That is my bad. I was not familiar with the YouTube etiquette. From now on, I will make sure I have some kind of image in the field of view so that you are not looking at black space for the entire time. My apology. Thank you for letting me know. Next, I understand a lot of information I present is controversial. It differs from established Nibiru Planet X information. Now, I will never knock in any way any other information that people present about Planet X. Everybody who covers this topic plays a valuable part in getting to the truth. I have chosen my own way. Other people have chosen their own ways. I prefer to present articles that I have written and sourced rather than show pictures of lens flares or Google Sky or a solarium or pictures of mysterious objects scrolling across my computer screen because I find them dubious and inconclusive. That's not to say that other people should not do that. Every piece of the puzzle here fits together in some mysterious way. Now, I am not an astronomer. I am not a scientist. I am a veteran reporter with over 30 years in the industry who abandoned mainstream media to pursue alternative news coverage because I realized and understood that information has been covered up and that the public was not getting the truth that they deserve to know. And that is something that I wanted to change. There is no profit in this for me. I do not monetize my YouTube videos. I earn very little from the advertising on my website. I am not getting rich or even turning any kind of profit off this, despite claims to the contrary. I just want to get that out there. I have always been more than willing to be entirely transparent about what I make for the coverage that I provide. And I will always continue to do this because I understand that the mainstream media has an agenda to conceal the truth about Nibiru and many other topics from the public view. I present information that has been passed along to me by persons that I deem credible, sources that I have vetted to the best of my ability, and sources that I would protect no matter what. Whether people love me or hate me or love the information I present or despise it, it does not matter to me. I will endeavor to provide the best and most timely information I can. I am always open to comments and criticism, but I will purge any comments that are personal attacks or serve as a rallying cry for violence against anybody, me or anybody else. We are all in this community together, trying to weave a complicated mosaic, trying to piece together a 100,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. It is not easy for anyone. We are living in tough times. We all have to keep an open mind if we are to eventually find out the truth. Whether my truth is 100% accurate, I don't know. People have asked me to back 110% every piece of information that I have written. I cannot do that. No news organization in the world would do that, because people get it wrong from time to time. And there's nothing we can do about that. We are human. We strive to present the best possible information that we can, as accurately as we can. And when we are wrong, we take the heat for it. I take the heat for it. Any other person out there that deals with this topic takes the heat for it. That is just the way it goes. On that note, I'm going to read the story we published early this morning. If you prefer not to hear my sinus-infected New York accent, you can visit www.someonesbones.com and read it for yourself. And yes, that is my annoying cat in the background. It only takes about 3 minutes or so. I will link supporting information in the description below. Thank you. Okay, and the headline reads, and please bear with me, Trump, Putin, Nibiru alliance erodes. And I'm going to go ahead and recite the story now. On Saturday, President Donald J. Trump fielded a flurry of telephone calls from foreign leaders amidst rising tensions over his controversial policies. They spoke about his disregard for NATO and the executive order banning people born in certain countries, including green card holders or not. Of the 24 calls he made, none was more important than the Nibiru call, a 1-hour-long encrypted conversation between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Okay, I'm going to let my cat out. He's bothering me, and then I'll be right back. Okay, and I am back, and I will now continue. Our Washington source, speaking to us under deep cover, gave alarming details surrounding the conversation between the world's two most powerful men. Donald Trump formally asked Putin to surrender the telescope. As reported previously, Trump is seeking to confirm a United States Special Operations Command report that the Nibiru system has stopped in space, stalled behind the dark side of the sun. Evidence for that has been found, along with the fossilized remains of famed Russian astronomer, Professor Dr. Mikhail Nikolaevich Tukhachevsky, at an abandoned Nibiru monitoring outpost on Komarov Atoll, a Russian-controlled province in the Aleutian Islands. United States military personnel had seized the report. However, lacking a metric socket set, they had been unable to unbolt the telescope from its concrete base. Now, our source says, President Trump is desperate to recover the telescope and its data, which provide the only available evidence substantiating Dr. Tukhachevsky's SNT, Sierra November Tango, which stands for Stalled Nibiru Theory. Our source said the following: the conversation between Trump and Putin started friendly enough. These two men see each other as comrades in arms. They first discussed Syria. However, when Trump started up about the telescope, Putin hemmed and hawed. He would have been glad to bring Trump not just the telescope, but even the entire 50-ton KO, Kilo Oscar, Komarov Observatory, personally, during an unscheduled trip to Washington early next month. Except for one minor problem. The KO was empty. The telescope was gone. Trump apparently flew into a fit of rage. Our source says, in many ways, Trump sees the telescope as a last chance to salvage an already failing presidency. At one point, Trump lost it and blurted out at Putin, "You're fired." Dr. Max Jacobson, the White House personal physician, quickly administered benzodiazepine to calm him down, as Putin explained that every track was being pursued to find the telescope. Evidence now points to Ukrainian involvement. Intelligence obtained via the 5th floor FSB Federal Service Bureau in Kiev directly implicates Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko in a last-minute attempt to sabotage the Trump-Putin entente cordiale. Apparently, Tatar Ukrainian Marines, with the support of dissident Turkish naval officers, had been sent to seize the telescope before either Trump or Putin could get their hands on it. President Poroshenko had decided to take his country to the brink of a Bering Sea war just to blackmail President Trump into financing and training 12 Ukrainian divisions for his planned CROW, Crimea Recovery Operation -White. If Trump agrees, the Putin-Trump Accords would collapse, plunging the United States into a new hot war. Otherwise, the CROW dies, but Trump may never see the telescope and is unlikely to reveal Nibiru to the world. The dialogue from the Trump-Putin phone call suggests that Trump has yet to hear from the Ukraine. However, it is entirely possible that Poroshenko, quite familiar with the Trump-Putin friendship, will have instead reached out to more reasonable, level-headed people in the Washington regime. For example, Defense Secretary James Mad Dog Mattis. Regardless, these very intense developments are just another hitch delaying Nibiru disclosure, an event that millions of people worldwide have anticipated for over 30 years. End of story. Okay, and there we have it. One more piece of concrete, or at least speculative, proof that President Donald J. Trump is determined to eviscerate the Nibiru cover-up and bring full disclosure to the world. I'm going to go ahead and link the 2 or 3 previous articles supporting this in the information below. And please take a look at it. Please read it. Please keep an open mind. That's all anybody can ask, regardless of anybody who looks at Nibiru information. Anything regarding Nibiru is controversial, generally dismissed by mainstream science, and has to be looked at with a very, very critical eye. Tomorrow, we will be broadcasting new information regarding Dr. Zakharovich's claims that a Nibiru fragment is currently hurtling toward Earth and will strike Earth in mid-February. A story that has been picked up by the Drudge Report, the Sun, the Daily Mail, and several Australian dailies as well. And we're going to get that information out tomorrow as early as we possibly can. On that note, as usual, I'm going to go ahead and sign out for the night. It's a Sunday night, and I hope everybody had a really good weekend. This is Mike from www.someonesbones.com, the internet's premier source for Nibiru news and information. Keep a clear mind, have clarity, be judgmental of information, be critical of information, evaluate everything for yourself. As the great patriot William Cooper once said, read everything, listen to everything, believe nothing until you can research it and prove it for yourself. I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty damn close. Have a great night. This is Mike signing out. Bye-bye.
The meteorite did in Russia last week when fragments hit a city, injuring thousands and causing a lot of damage there. But our own streak in the sky certainly has a lot of people talking. We sent NBC4's Gordon Tokamatsu to Griffith Observatory today to find out what scientists have to say about this. And Gordon, do they have an explanation?
Well, they do, Colleen, and it's not what you might think. You know, these fireballs do generate a lot of headlines. This one caught on video, seen by plenty of people here in Southern California. So what's really going on up there? Well, we came here to the observatory to ask one expert who says, relax, the sky is not falling. Maybe you were one of the 50 or so people who contacted the American Meteor Society last night. This is video posted on the organization's website of what many called a green fireball. Their map shows a cluster of reports from people literally hundreds of miles from each other.
What you're really seeing is a glowing column of gas.
The surprise here? The piece of material that caused that glowing mass was likely no larger than a basketball.
It's extremely visible because of the tremendous heat that is generated.
Earth's atmosphere is a marvelously protective thing, says Dr. Ed Krupp of Griffith Observatory. Because of it, most meteors are blasted to smithereens by the time they get anywhere near us. Even the ones that put on a show, like this one that streaked across Bay Area skies about a week ago. How do we know the atmosphere is protecting us? Well, Krupp says, consider this.
Somewhere on the planet, there's an object like that entering the atmosphere at least once a day.
Of course, the much larger chunk of space rock that streaked across the skies over Siberia a week ago was unusually large, but it too likely never reached Earth intact. The dozens of injuries and building damage came from a shock wave created when it disintegrated. To make a point, Dr. Krupp showed us this meteorite, which weighs more than 8 pounds despite its small size. It struck Earth some 50,000 years ago.
And this could do some damage.
Yeah, you don't have to worry, though, about getting killed by a meteorite.
So what are the odds of you actually getting hit by a meteorite here on Earth? Well, by some estimates, it's 1 in several trillion. So your chances of winning the lottery several times over or getting hit by lightning are much greater. Live at Griffith Observatory, Gordon Tokamatsu, NBC4.
Are you serious? Are you serious? What are you looking at there? What? What are you looking at? Well, you're looking at a map of the world. And what you also see on this map is the pinpointed location of the last 50 meteorites that have been spotted directly overhead in the world. Very, very, very few, almost hardly non-existent, is Asia. 3 meteorites have been spotted in Australia. A few in, looks like about 3 or so in the southern part of Africa. The Middle East, 1. Europe, 1, maybe 2. And the bulk, nothing, not 1 meteorite has been spotted in South America of the last 50 meteorites. But look where the rest are. The United States of America. Exactly the United States of America. And a little bit in Canada. This is the last 50 meteorites. As Comet Ison is approaching, I want you to focus where the primarily where the meteorites are breaking the atmosphere and where they're being where they are directly being spotted overhead. Now, with that information, you might say, well, what, are you serious? That's what I said. And then I went, I want to thank Troy. I really do. I want to thank Troy of North Carolina for this as a wonderful report. And if you want to take a look at this report yourself, I'll put the link below. It's the latest worldwide meteor course, meteor reports. And I'll put it down below. I'll put the link for you. Give you an idea of where these meteorites are being seen. I know, and it just, and oh, by the way, you want to know how long it took for these 50 meteorites? Since September the 30th. Today is October the 3rd. So in the last, and actually this report only goes through October 2nd. So in a 3-day period, there were 50 meteorites, with the bulk of it right over top the United States of America. I mean, they've been spotted in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Aberdeen, Texas, Virginia, Rocky Point, New York, Union, New Jersey, Auburn, Massachusetts, Prescott Valley, Arizona, Yadensville, North Carolina, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Stanford, Connecticut, East Norwich, New York, Australia, Oregon, United States, of course, Stockton, California, Ontario, Canada. One was spotted over Lebanon. Of course, Navasota, Texas, Quebec, Canada. One was spotted over the Philippines, Toccoco, Georgia, Fairfield, Maine, Jefferson City, Missouri, East Lansing, Michigan, Canada, Portugal, Australia, Horseheads, New York, Overbridge, New York, and it's just to name a few for you, just so you can get a handle. But the map speaks for itself, folks. Can I ask a question? Is God trying to get America's attention? I mean, especially just a few days ago, there were 48 meteorite spottings just in Indiana. Is God trying to get America's attention as Comet Ison is racing toward the sun? It's went past Mars. It's now headed toward the sun. It's bringing with it an enormous tail, an absolute astronomical tail, 8 times wider than the Earth. And if this increased meteorite activity is because it's on the front end of Comet Ison, does anybody got an idea what's coming on the back end? Oh, and by the way, is the government open yet? Is NASA watching? Are you serious? And then just throw in the fact that not only will the Comet Ison be bringing a ton of debris, we don't even know how many meteorites and asteroids and comet dust. Throw in the fact it will be the brightest star in the sky since the Star of Bethlehem. Throw in the fact that it may be as much as 15 times brighter than the moon, according to Brian Williams of NBC News. Throw in the fact that it will come its closest point to the sun on November 29, 2013, the anniversary of when the United Nations first voted Israel to become a state on November 29, 1947. Throw in the fact that the Comet Ison is showing up 666 years after the Comet Nigra, when the Black Plague, the bubonic plague, killed half of Europe, 25 million people. I'm just saying, is there something biblical going on here? I mean, we know what Jesus said in the Word of God. He said there would be great signs and fearful sights. Great signs and fearful sights. He said that, of course, in Luke 21. Should we be concerned? Is the Lord trying to send us a message? He has been trying to send us a message since Christ died on the cross and rose from the dead. Matter of fact, the Bible says in Luke 21, in verse 10, nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines and pestilence and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. Also, he told us in the same chapter, Luke 21, go to verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, and the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up, lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Give your life to Jesus Christ. America, wake up. It's obvious God's trying to get our attention.
Bizarre story from Russia. 500 people have been hurt by a visitor from space. A meteorite, or perhaps more than one, passed over southern Russia, eventually exploding in midair, producing an intense flash and a shock wave that broke windows. Officials say most of the injuries were caused by flying glass. Phil Black joins us now from Moscow with more on this. Phil, what more do we know?
Well, Melita, the number of people that were injured just in these few terrifying moments have been climbing through the morning, and there have been conflicting reports from various government agencies. But the latest official government numbers seem to indicate consistently that there are more than 500 people injured by broken and shattered glass as a result of this meteor strike. We believe that dozens certainly are being treated in hospital. A few of those may be in pretty grave, maybe in a pretty bad way. It was just a few moments. Let's just listen now to a regional ministry emergency spokesman describing what took place in the skies over this Russian region of Chelyabinsk at around 9:20 this morning.
In the sky over the city of Chelyabinsk, an object was spotted which flew in the air with high speed, leaving a trace in the sky. 2 minutes later, 3 consecutive explosions were heard, and the resulting impact wave smashed windows in the city of Chelyabinsk and neighboring cities.
So Roscosmos, the Russian space agency, has estimated that this one large meteor was traveling at around 30 kilometers a second as it struck the Earth's atmosphere. It is at that point that it is believed to have broken up, fracturing into smaller pieces, triggering these sonic booms and shock waves across the area, which have not resulted in any major substantial or structural damage to buildings, but hundreds have had their windows blown out, and as a result, that has in turn injured hundreds of people, but mostly, so far, not seriously. The extraordinary thing is, Benita, that this all took place, as I say, in just a few months.
Phil, how are people describing what actually happened to them in the minutes, or I should say, the seconds before this happened?
Well, the videos that's emerging from this region this morning gives a very strong indication, and a lot of it seems to have actually caught the actual moment that either the large meteor or fragments from it were actually tearing through the Earth's atmosphere. And from this video, we can see the streaks of something like smoke from the friction caused by this large piece of rock as it enters the atmosphere. We hear the explosion that follows a few moments later, and then the sound of broken glass almost everywhere. There is no doubt that this was a terrifying experience for these people, completely caught unprepared by this. It was around 9:20 this morning, local time, as I say, around the time that most people are at work, going to work, at school, driving, living their normal early morning lives, when this took place completely without any sort of warning. We do know that there is a large asteroid on a near-Earth trajectory that is due to pass reasonably close to the Earth, but that's still some hours away. And the analysis from space agencies around the world so far seems to indicate that this completely unexpected event is not linked to that passing asteroid.
Hey folks, it's Monday, February 17th, about 12:50 Mountain Time, 2014. Fire in the Sky News. We are looking at, this is not a picture of the sun. This is of a giant fireball that was recorded somewhere over, it looks like, northern England. I'll post the link to the video that was sent to me by Super James 215. This thing is incredible. It's very reminiscent of the February 15th event of 2013 from Russia. I don't know if this has happened on the 16th or the 15th. I don't know the complete details, but anyway, it is a dazzler. Oh my gosh. Wow. Just sharing, guys. Unbelievable. Brighter than the sun.
Burning across the horizon this morning. It is the second time in 3 weeks we've seen it in our area. This time, people took pictures. KPTV's Amy Troy has a look at some Fox 12 viewer photos. Amy, what was it?
Well, Shauna, the jury is still out. Scientists are still looking over all the reports, all the photographs. Luckily, with our clear skies, there are lots of photos. People saw it, they snapped pictures of it, they sent these in to our newsroom. Some described it like a line in the sky grew into a fireball. Now, a pilot described it as contrails left behind a jet. We talked with an astronomer at OMSI. He says there are great pictures, but no reports of a sonic boom, and that's key. He says when a fireball, a piece of an asteroid, enters our atmosphere, we hear it, and there are no reports of this so far.
And looking at the picture, it looked like that was a fairly good sized chunk. Then the explosion, where's the flash? There hasn't been any reports of any such thing yet.
He says we should know what it is in a couple of days. You may remember back on October 30th, many saw a fireball in the sky. That was a meteor entering our atmosphere. It came in over Washington State and then landed in the Pacific Ocean. Reporting live, Amy Troy, the 5 o'clock news.
The fireball flew Friday night. The East Coast does not mean the end of Western civilization as we know it. Although you may have succumbed to the prophecy that some social media stopped running. The sky lit along the entire U.S. East Coast. Those who saw it described it as a thin stripe of blue-green-white, explains Chip Guy, who was driving in eastern Maryland when he and his family saw him. It did not last more than 8 or 9 seconds, and then disappeared, said a spokesman. Guy, Sussex County, Delaware. Frankly, I did not think too much about it, he says, but became concerned when he published it in the web of the local media. Triggered a rapid and overwhelming. That was just the tip of the iceberg of what was going to happen that night. Throughout Friday night, every few seconds a message appeared on Twitter from someone who had seen the meteor. Some of the messages were from the cities of New York and Washington.
That wasn't thunder. That thing was blown up. Oh my God, there it goes again. I don't care, that woke me up. Oh, it's still booming. Holy shit. I think maybe it got hit by lightning. Oh my God, this is a big fire. So there's downtown. Oh my God. Holy smokes. Oh my God. Oh my God, there's flaming things in the air, Aaron. It's shooting things out of it.
Thanks very much. Apparently there's a lot of excitement in central Russia today.
Really? What's that?
I'm not sure. Are you going to tell me? Something to do with
meteorites.
An out of this world discovery.
Yeah, ISIS explains.
This was the scene back in February as a massive meteor streaked across the sky. Turning night into day, the fireball sent shockwaves across Russia, shattering windows, injuring some 1,200 people, and causing millions of dollars in damage. Scientists say fragments of the space rock crash landed here, beneath the ice of this frozen lake near the city of Chelyabinsk. Now, 8 months later, the ice is gone. And on Wednesday, in an operation covered live on Russian TV, divers entered the murky water. At the bottom of the lake, they found what is believed to be the largest single fragment of the meteorite. The 1.5-meter-long boulder was dragged ashore, then weighed, where it literally tipped, then broke the scales.
If it weighs more than 500 kilograms, then the object is unique in itself and is likely to be one of the biggest meteorites ever found.
The suspected space rock crumbled into several chunks, but still weighed in at more than 570 kilograms. Now, scientists want to confirm this is indeed the meteorite they've been searching for.
The initial visual survey, which we are talking about now, doesn't give us 100% certainty. We still need to conduct more research, a structural analysis, and other tests.
When it entered Earth's atmosphere, scientists estimate the meteor weighed about 10,000 tons. It's just a fraction of that size now, but scientists seem confident they've made an out-of-this-world discovery. I used to say CNN.
Now we know why.
Now we know why there's excitement in central Russia.
We're offshore. We got a meteor shower coming in. It's breaking up.
Take a look at this cell phone video. Captain William Lowry was in his boat in the Freeport area around 3 Wednesday morning when he saw a meteor fly across the sky in a brilliant orange glow.
Nothing like this of this magnitude. A few shooting stars from time to time, but this approximately lasted 3 to 4 minutes.
The Russian meteor that exploded across the sky is prompting scientists to better identify large meteor and asteroid threats. A team at the University of Hawaii is working on the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, or ATLAS, with NASA.
Something that's, enough to do a regional disaster. Well, we're picking those up about a year ahead. But we'd like to pick up something a tenth of that size with enough warning, maybe a week's warning, 2 weeks warning, so people will know to look for it, and if they really are in the way of it, they'll know to evacuate.
Hey folks, it's Wednesday, November 27th, about 11:15 Mountain Time, 2013. Fire in the Sky News tonight. Special report. I'm just going to get right to it. Please forgive my voice, folks. I've been fighting a cold all week. We're under a full-blown meteor outburst, and the data that's coming in, there's no denying it. Right here in Greece today, a huge fireball with meteorites exploded over Greece and Italy, shook windows, heard a sonic boom. People mistook it for an earthquake. Again, that was today, the 27th. There's many reports here to verify that. Another one today over Australia, looks like the eastern side of Australia. Many witnesses, may have a video associated with that was sent to me by a subscriber. Blonde Seeker sent me that. I'll show it to you here in just a minute. But many witnesses here, and they've never seen anything like it. Large orange ball, and if I'm not mistaken, they heard a sonic boom with that as well. Quebec, Canada, fireball on the 26th. This was yesterday. People were mystified at a sonic boom, and a pilot did report seeing a bright light. I guess it rattled windows again there, just like it did over in Italy and Greece today. So in 24 hours, we've had 2 major fireballs enter, or meteors enter the atmosphere that have rocked houses, windows, shook the ground, startled people. Story out of Florida is absolutely unbelievable. A little boy was struck by a meteorite, and this was 3 or 4 days ago. And I'll post the link to this story if you haven't already heard about it, but that is extremely rare. And I'm glad the little guy's okay, and I commend the parents on their great detective work on looking around the driveway trying to get to the bottom of, you know, what happened. And they did find other little rocks laying around where he was playing, and went and had them analyzed, and they were in fact meteorites. So hang in there, little guy. Be strong. Unbelievable. Let's go over to American Meteor Society, and tonight we've got a report that just come in less than an hour ago out of Mesquite, Texas. They're reporting these at a -24 magnitude, bright as the sun. They said there were 8 to 10 fireballs. Awesome! Exclamation point. And there's other reports coming in. That's the most dramatic I've seen. I just come down to do this. I haven't been able to do videos much lately because I just been a little under the weather. But anyway, here's the video that was sent to me by Blonde Seeker, and the YouTube channel is Mr. Stargaze Nation, and I believe this was filmed from New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken, maybe Australia. I don't know. The description has been taken down. I watched it earlier, and if I'm not mistaken, it was New Zealand. But check this out. Oh, man. Some sort of fireball, meteor, broken into many pieces, flying through the sky. I have no idea. But he does have this in slow motion, and he did capture this today. Unbelievable. So there's a lot going on, guys, and I agree with lunar meteorite hunters. We are under a full-blown meteor outburst alert, based off of the reports coming in from around the world. Sonic booms, shaking windows. Now the meteorites are hitting humans. So, big heads up. Not trying to scare anybody. It is what it is. That's all. So I'll try to track down some video footage of some of these other reports that have been coming in. And I'll get those up tomorrow. But during these uncertain times, folks, I encourage you to be brave, be strong, and please be wise. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Сервис 380 00 10. 2 берега 380 00 10. We begin tonight with breaking news and a mysterious sight in the skies. Thousands of people up and down the East Coast reported a large, bright meteor shooting across the sky tonight. There have been reported sightings from Virginia to Boston. Very few pictures or video available until now. This just into our newsroom from Thermont, Maryland. There it is. Check the left-hand side of your screen. Kim from Thermont captured the video on her home security camera. The timestamp on the video shows it was taken at 7:53 tonight. Witnesses describe the meteor as bright green and white with a long tail, visible for about 5 seconds before disappearing. Fox 5's Gary McGrady here to explain what people saw. Gary.
Hey, thanks a lot, Brian. No doubt we're going to have tons of video of this over the weekend as people begin to do just that, find it on their security cameras and whatnot, and those people that manage to get it on their phone or a picture of it start coming on across. Listen, here's what we think it probably was. Definitely a meteor. Well, I don't want to say definitely, but pretty good high likelihood that it was. And probably what's known as a fireball, which is a slightly larger meteor. And a typical meteor would be about the size of a pea or up to the size of a pea. So this would be larger than that. And I saw some instances where maybe a baseball size or a softball size would glow like that. So it was probably right around that size. It does appear much closer than it actually is. It definitely has to be higher in the sky than 5 miles. And we begin to potentially see these when they enter the atmosphere at about 50 miles high. So just keep that in mind. And they are traveling faster than 10 miles per second. And no doubt that one burned up very, very quickly. We have no idea if we're going to have meteorites from this or not. Again, there it is, looping for you. Again, it lasted, just about everybody is saying it lasts 3 to 4 to 5 seconds in the sky. And there's a website, Brian, called the American Meteor Society. And they encourage people to go to that website and put in the details of their sighting of the particular meteor. And earlier this evening, just after this, the website was crashed. You couldn't get on it. And I checked a little while ago, and there have been reports from North Carolina all the way up to New England. And at the time I checked, there had already been 356 sightings of this, and definitely thousands more. This is not unusual, Brian. We get thousands of these a day across the planet. It's just we don't see very many of them. Some of them happen during the day, and obviously some of them happen over the ocean where there's just nobody there to see it.
It seems like if it would have landed somewhere, at least around people, we would have heard by now. So perhaps it landed out to sea or something.
Yeah, like I said, I have no idea. And chances are they would be such small particles that who knows.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Gary. Getting a lot of witness reports on our Facebook page. Jethro says, I saw it while driving on the Beltway in the area of Andrews Air Force Base at about 7:50. Thought it was a flare. Louise says it was so clear you could see it shooting through the sky. My grandson was afraid it was a plane crashing. It was beautiful. Head to MyFox DC Facebook page to tell us about your sighting. And if you have any pictures or videos, feel free to upload them to myweatherphoto@gmail.com.
Непонятно. Была такая ярчайшая вспышка и исчезла. И вот туда дальше. Ой. Охренеть.